Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Chu. I am the Mayor's Liaison to Chinatown, Downtown, and the Leather District. Just want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. Please note again that this meeting is being recorded and the recording can be obtained via public records request or a simple email to me. And I will drop my email in the chat in just a moment. Tonight, I'll be facilitating a statutorily required cannabis community outreach meeting. This is an application by 7 Peaks for a retail cannabis dispensary at the location of 52 to 60 Winter Street. Please note that no decisions will be made tonight. This is just a community meeting required by the city and state before moving on to the Cannabis Board and the Zoning Board of Appeals. The proposal then needs to go through a state process before it will be able to open for business. There will be time for a question and answer and comments at the end of the presentation. Please wait until the presentation is over before asking questions. There is also an open comment period, meaning that if you do not get called on tonight, or if you think of a question that have not been answered, you can reach out to myself or the project team, and we'll work with you to get that information. I will now turn it over to Alec.
Yeah, I'll turn it over to Dennis and I'll just share my screen if that's cool.
All right. Thank you. You ready there, Alec?
I'm still not able to share my screen, unfortunately.
Let's see.
Oh, there we go.
Got it. All
Can you
right.
see my screen?
Yes. Everybody see it all right?
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Chu and the mayor's office. Thank you for sponsoring this meeting. We greatly appreciate it. My name's Dennis Quilty. I am the attorney representing 7 Peaks, who are applicants for a retail cannabis dispensary license at this Winter Street location. At the outset, I just want to let everyone know that this is an equity applicant. This is a minority and woman-owned business and will be so filing its process with the city. With us tonight are the CEO, Dominique Atwood, who I'm going to introduce in a moment, our Chief Operating Officer, Ben Sprague, who's with us, Chief Legal, Taylor Hodhod, and Chief of Strategy, Alex Caudice. With us as well, among the consultants, myself, the Ed Davis Company. Mr. Davis, of course, is the former police commissioner for the city of Boston, and Steve Whitman, who is our day-to-day contact person, a former member of the Boston Police Department. With us as well, Eric Gould, the project architect from Helicon Architects. With that, we'd like to start with introducing Dominique, our chief executive, to tell you about herself and her plans for operations at this site. Quickly want to just say we have met going forward rather than the past. We have met with the Midtown Park Plaza Neighborhood Association. We've met with the Downtown Bid. We've met with District City Councilor Flynn in terms of our community outreach. So we're delighted to be here tonight with this mayor's office community meeting, and I'd like to introduce Dominique Atwood. Dominique.
Hi, how are you? My name is Dominique, and I first wanted to start off with thanking everyone for taking the time to meet with us today. So a little bit about me. I currently reside in Brockton, where I'm born and raised. I live here currently with my husband, who is a Brockton police officer, as well as our 2 children. I'm working currently as a full-time pediatric nurse practitioner. And in addition to my medical background, I also hold a degree in social psychology, which prior to my nursing degree, I had worked for a number of years as a residential house manager for developmentally disabled and or behavioral at-risk youth. So as a medical professional and mother of 2, I definitely understand the significance of our business operation. We understand that what we're selling is a controlled substance, and we want to make sure we're doing this in the most diligent manner, including educating both of our customers and the community on the varying effects of and the benefits of the Schedule I substance. The reason we're sharing my background with you is because I've grown up and chosen to raise my children in a community similar to the one that I'm hoping to open a business in. And I hope you guys will understand that, with that being said, I'm mindful of the struggles the community faces, but I'm also invested in the betterment of the community. With my husband being a police officer in our city, I understand the benefits that friendly and community-oriented security presence can bring. And that's, the reason we went with the Edward Davis Company for our security partner on this project. We're committed to ensuring that we protect all vulnerable communities, specifically children, including those at the William J. Ostagai High School and Bridge Over Troubled Waters. We want to support these communities, give back to them, and with the help of our security partners, we're hoping to create a safer and cleaner Winter Street.
So thank you, Dominique. We'd like to introduce our security operation, Ed Davis of the Ed Davis Company. Ed? Oops.
Apologies, I was muted.
There he is.
Good. Thank you, Dennis, and good evening, Chu, and the rest of the people who are on the call. It's a real pleasure for me to be here tonight, presenting with Dominique and Taylor and Alec and the rest of the team. Ben, I've had an opportunity to work with these individuals who are really concerned about the neighborhood. They, as was said, they're an equity company, a company that has its roots in cities and understands how cities operate. And I'm happy to say that I'm joined here today by Steve Whitman as well. Steve was a deputy superintendent in the Boston Police Department, who was one of my key advisors when I was the commissioner there. And we were able to drive the Part 1 crime rate down 35% during the 7 years that I was in office. So we know a little bit about crime reduction. We know about how to deal with criminal activity, and we also know about what it's like in the downtown Crossing area. I spent a lot of time on Tremont Street and in the Common in that area. Very familiar with the benefits and the drawbacks of running a safe business there. And so we've teamed up with Seven Peaks, and we have written a security plan that is consistent with all the regulations that the CCC requires in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Plans that I'm proud to say have been very successful in rooting out some of the problems that other states that started off with these operations had, like the state of Colorado. I spent some time out there after they first passed the law, and the state of Massachusetts really took a lot of time to put these regulations in place. The regulations are around security at the facility. The regulations are around making sure that underage people don't get into the facility, and they're really around making sure that Seven Peaks is a good neighbor to the other businesses. And I'll end up with one more point. I know that in troubled neighborhoods or neighborhoods that are going up and down in statistics as far as criminal activity, the best thing that you can do is have a well-run business there that brings people into the neighborhood. And I think that's exactly what you have accomplished with Seven Peaks. So I'm happy to be here tonight. Thank you.
Ed, thank you very much. I know Steve will be with us to answer specific questions. He has dealt personally with the district captain and has some thoughts on that as well. And we'd like to move to Taylor Hodhod, who's going to explain our location and kind of talk about the site. Taylor?
Yep. Thanks, Ed. We really appreciate your insight. Hi, everyone. I'm Taylor, and I'm going to be giving you guys an overview of the location. So our proposed retail store is at 54 Winter Street, just over 100 feet away from the orange, red, and green lines. We have about 1,000 square feet of retail space above ground and then 500 square feet downstairs that we plan to use for vaults, packaging, as well as an employee break room. And what's really great about this location is that it does have a secure alley for product deliveries as well as cash pickups. So that's going to be completely out of the sight from the public eye at all times. We can move to the next slide, Alec. So
Hold on,
it's
don't mean to interrupt. Alec, could you let people in?
Yes, I've been trying to do that as I see them pop up there, but I'll continue to keep my eye out.
So it's no surprise that retail vacancies is one of the city's top issues. So much so that, in fact, Mayor Wu's administration has launched the SPACE program, which is a $9 million grant program, which aims to help about 50 businesses fill vacancies over the next 5 years. And we also met with the Midtown Park Plaza Neighborhood Association, as Dennis mentioned, and they communicated to us that they really want enhanced security and new businesses to fill the empty storefronts. And so we really think that the presence of a dispensary such as ours with professional security and really inviting lighting will help revitalize the commercial activity on Winter Street. And as Dominique mentioned, we have partnered with the Ed Davis Company to ensure that our security is of the highest quality, because our goal really is to bring a safe, secure, welcoming, and overall just a clean business to Winter Street. And we want to have a positive impact on the community and the area. And we really want to be a part of the solution to Winter Street. And we have with us Eric Gold, who's our architect, and he can briefly explain the look and feel that we're trying to go for with Seven Peaks.
Eric.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Taylor. My name is Eric Gould. I'm owner and founder of Applicant Design Group. I've been had my business in downtown Crossing since the Stone Age, 1991. And I've been a resident there since 2008. So I'm pleased to be part of this team with Alec and Taylor and Ben. They're an extremely professional group, very responsible, very responsive to us during the planning phases of the project. And I feel like this project, we have a special interest in seeing it come out well because we're members of the community there. And we feel like it's going to be a positive influence. Based on what we've discussed so far, this is just a concept rendering of what the front of the store will look like. Hello? Sorry.
Alec, could you mute that person?
I've muted them. Thank you, Eric. You can continue.
Okay, so the storefront there is planned to have be screened, you know, obviously the interior of the store from the street, but it'll be set back from the glass, activated with seasonally with projects submitted from the community that have community interest. Could be photography, artists, filmmakers, broad spectrum of contributors to that storefront space, which will also be a pretty high-end millwork and glass, obscure glass project that will be, very good quality retail materials that we feel will bring up the quality of life on the street. Very well lit, inviting facade that will be I think a very good contribution to the street, especially over which some of them that are there now. So it's going to be well lit, modern, well designed, and we're right down the street to ensure the success of the project.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
So yeah, as Eric mentioned, we really just want our establishment to exude this aura of cleanliness and safety. We would love your guys' opinions if you have, recommendations or ideas of what we could do to help make Seven Peaks kind of bring that to Winter Street. We're all ears. Moving on to different studies that address the impact of dispensaries on local communities. So during our community meetings, there were concerns that dispensaries could compound issues that are already present on Winter Street. Some of the things that were mentioned were increased street dealing as well as petty crime. But here we have some studies that actually address these claims that dispensaries adversely impact communities. And they found that retail cannabis facilities are not positively associated with increased crime, nor are they associated with underage use. And we really think that with the increased security and lighting that we will bring to Winter Street, that we can really help the street with the crime and just overall the atmosphere. And as we move to our interior, Alec can give you a better idea of how the flow works inside the store.
Thanks, Taylor.
Yes, thank you, Taylor, and thank you all for taking the time to meet with us tonight. As mentioned, my name's Alec Cowdice, and I'll be walking you through our store floor plan and operating procedure. What we've noticed as a group across the vast majority of cannabis dispensaries is that the ordering and payment processes are often tied together and occur at the point of sale counter. Typically in this situation, customers spend ample time at the POS counter discussing products, effects, and deciding on their final order. At Seven Peaks, we separate the ordering and payment process to allow customers to take the time that they need to place their orders without impacting the experience of others. For example, our system prevents the situation where a customer that needs 3 minutes is delayed by a customer that needs 10 minutes, thus resulting in that 3-minute customer turning into a 13-minute customer. Ultimately, our customer experience allows all customers to take the time that they need to understand their products and feel comfortable with their purchases. So to dive into this a little bit more, I'll just zoom in on our floor plan here. On this plan, this shows our proposed floor plan at about maximum capacity with 32 customers inside the store designated in white. We plan to have 4 to 7 bud tenders that are designated in green and 3 to 4 designated security personnel that are in yellow. The customer journey begins at the front door when you're greeted by security personnel. They will buzz you into the front door, into the vestibule here, where your ID will be scanned and verified that you are over the age of 21. If you have a pre-order placed, you'll proceed to the left through the pre-order door and enter and join the pre-order queue, where you'll meet your pre-order at the POS counter. If you don't have a pre-order and you're walking in, you'll proceed to the right, where you'll be meted by a bud tender. This bud tender will introduce the 2 ways that you can submit an order while in the store at Seven Peaks. One being through your iPhone or mobile device or Android, and the other being through our kiosks that we have here in the attended customer ordering section. This area is, meant to provide customers with the full menu and bud tender assistance when placing their orders, so that, again, this goes into everybody having the time that they need to understand their products. Once the order is placed, a ticket is generated and sent to the vault for fulfillment, and the customer will join the pre-order line, or the walk-in line. Once their order is fulfilled, it will be sent up the dumbwaiter to be given to the customer at the POS counter, where they will check out. Once the customers check out, they proceed to exit through this one-way door here to the left. So to facilitate this, we're leveraging technology to really increase the efficiency of our store. As I mentioned, there are 2 ways that you can submit an order. The iPhone is kind of depicted at the bottom right here, and the kiosk is depicted at the top left. This technology is already in use in my brother's dispensary that he opened up in Provincetown. They're able to get a customer who broadly knows what they want in and out of the store within 5 minutes. that kind of breaks down to about 60 seconds from the time that the order's submitted to the time that the order is fulfilled by a vault bud tender. And then we add about 30 seconds for it to go up the dumbwaiter, and then another 60 seconds for the POS, the point of sale transaction. Again, this approach allows all customers to spend the time that they need to understand and feel comfortable with their purchase while removing the bottlenecks that we often see at the POS counter. 7 Peaks will not allow lines or loitering on the sidewalk in front of our store. In fact, we're working with the Edward Davis Company to design a procedure to ensure that once the store reaches about 70% capacity, we will switch over to pre-orders only and ask customers to submit orders and come back at a later date. This slide here kind of shows an annotated version of the vault, where the basement, where you can see the vault, our order fulfillment area, the security office, and our employee break room. So Steve, our consultant from the Ed Davis company, will now review our security plan.
Is Steve with us?
Steve is muted, but he is with us.
Okay. So next step, Steve, unmute yourself. Please.
Got it there?
There he is.
Good?
Gotcha.
Okay.
I was about to jump in. It's all yours, Steve.
Good evening, everybody. As mentioned earlier, my name is Steve Whitman. I was a Boston police officer for 32 years. 8 of those were as a deputy superintendent. I've had the experience of being in the drug control unit, youth violence strike force. I'm familiar with those aspects of those things. And so my role with Ed Davis is more on the operational side of things. So I'll be on the ground day to day working with 7 Peaks. And I will say up to this point, you know, when we come in and we do a consulting, we really push for state of the art equipment, highly trained staff, security people. And so far that's been very positive on all aspects of it. There'll be a high-tech security system in there. That security system will also be available to the police department, both before or during. They could watch it live if they wanted to, and also afterwards if they needed things for that. I think the goal for at least one of the cameras is to kind of angle it to support more of the neighborhood around the establishment itself, not just focus on the establishment, to give the police a resource there if they're needed. We talked a little bit about the security of it, and there'll be security officers inside. I think more importantly, and just to emphasize the importance of it, there'll be security officers on the outside as well. I've had numerous conversations and meetings with the Captain Chicolo down there, and he and I, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with some of the issues that go on in the common area and around that area. So his big thing to me is he wants to see a proactive approach that we can take as a security force in that area, visibility, patrolling the area. He wants us to be proactive in the sense that, you know, if we see something, right, we want to be the eyes and ears of that neighborhood, not just the establishment. If we see things that aren't right, and they'll be trained in these types of things to recognize them, that we proactively call the police and get them involved in things to try to help reduce some of the activity in and around that area. So I'm confident that between the high-tech security systems that are in place and the security personnel that'll be trained by us in an ongoing basis, that we'll be able to provide a good security help for not only the establishment, but for the area in general.
Steve, thank you very much. And I think Ben is our last presenter for tonight.
Thank you, Dennis. I appreciate that. Thanks, Steve, for running through our security plan. And again, I just want to also thank everyone for joining us this evening. So when it comes to the delivery of our products or cash pickups, we're going to use a secure location. So Taylor had mentioned next to our building is a lockable alleyway. So you have Winter Street that runs down, and then right next to it, there's an alleyway with a lockable gate, and then a side entrance into our building, which is also lockable. So when products or cash is flowing in and out of the building, neither one of these doors will be open at the same time. It's really out of sight, out of mind when you park a vehicle up next to it. So there's really no way for anybody to get in or out of our building while these processes are going on. And then when it comes to timing of the deliveries, it will always be done before operating hours in the AM. and we're going to rotate the days and times we do these deliveries, so no one's able they can't predict when we're doing these deliveries. We also plan on using transportation vehicles that are small minivans or small vans. They're inconspicuous, and doing this in the AM before a lot of business operation hours will help alleviate any congestion problems. Alec, would you go to operations, please? So we plan on operating 7 days a week. Monday through Saturday, we'll be open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. And on Sundays, it'll be 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. We'll have appropriate odor mitigation technology like carbon filters to make sure our neighbors aren't disturbed by the smell. Additionally, to help Winter Street community, our staff will work alongside bid ambassadors to help keep the area clean. We want to be part of this community and be a positive impact on it. To keep our store moving quickly and efficiently, we'll also be communicating benefits of pre-orders. So it was mentioned earlier that once we're at a 70% capacity, our security will be notified by the staff, and we're really only going to allow pre-orders to come in. So we're going to basically give them a friendly message that they should use the pre-order system, and we'll notify them through their smart device when their order is ready for pickup. We've thought about this, for a while to make sure our system runs as smooth as we know it's going to. We are open to the possibility of only doing pre-orders for the first few months. To ensure that the design flow is second nature to our staff. So they just know how this works, and they get, it becomes muscle memory to them. When it comes to the community, Alec, if you go to the next slide, please. As you know, Dominique, our CEO, she's not only an equity applicant, but she's a mother and a professional with a background in medicine from, a very like community. So she recognizes the importance of building up her community and standing behind them and being very positive with them. So with that, we're hoping to bring 15 to 20 full-time positions, into our business with diverse hiring that they'll also receive a livable wage with benefits. So we also want to ensure that we're welcoming applicants with prior nonviolent marijuana convictions. And when it comes to our security personnel, we will have preferential hiring for veterans to be part of our security team. Again, safety is a top concern of ours. So our security team of 3 to 4 will enhance the safety of Winter Street. Again, Steve had mentioned this, our state-of-the-art cameras and digital security will help with that. And we're going to give Boston Police Department full access to our camera system. That way we can ensure that we're helping keep the community safe. And really, I just want to, again, thank everyone in attendance for your time and listening to our team, share our hopes and wishes with you. And with that, I'll hand it back to the mayor's office.
Thanks, Ben. Chulan, we are ready for the questions as they come.
Thank you. So we will now begin a question and answer comment period. To raise your hand, please go to the bottom of the screen and click on the reaction button and click on raise hand. If you're calling in by telephone and have a question, you can press, I believe, *9. I will call on people by the order in which they raise their hand. If you have spoken once and then have a question after you speak, I will call on you after everyone that has not spoken yet has had a chance to ask the question. I will also monitor the chat for questions, and I ask that you change your name on Zoom to include your place of residence. I ask that if possible, you raise your hand to ask a question due to the volume of people on this call. And please state your name and address before asking a question or giving a comment. I will also leave my email in the chat where you can send your questions or comments. I will limit the questions and comments to 2 minutes so everyone has a chance to speak. And I will let you know when the 2 minutes are up. So we'll turn it over for questions and answers. I don't see any. Oh, I have Rosemary, the downtown bid. Rosemary.
Hi, Chulan. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I can't join you on video, but you can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Thank you for your time tonight. I have 2 questions. One is that the 2 other cannabis operations that are in the downtown Boston bid, and I should have said I work for the downtown Boston Business Improvement District. We're located at 101 Arch Street. Those other two establishments have conditions on their license that prevent them from selling pre-rolled products that require a minimum purchase of $40 as key sort of license restrictions. Are you willing, if you are fully approved, are you willing to adopt those restrictions on the license?
Alec, Taylor?
Yeah,
who wants to take it.
yes, I think that we're definitely willing to accept those restrictions. And Rosemary, it's nice to see you again. Or talk to you again. But yeah, we are very much willing to do the same as all the other establishments, including the restrictions you listed there, and also the closing and operating times we've kept in line with those other establishments as well.
Okay, thank you. Final question before my 2 minutes are up. Do you plan on using third-party delivery services or operating a delivery service of your own, or will everyone come into the retail location to get their product?
We have no plans to operate a delivery service out of this location. If we were, in a few years to find another location that was just suitable to something like that, I don't want to say we wouldn't take advantage of that, but really we feel that this store is on a pedestrian street and it's for pedestrians to walk into.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the acknowledgement of the pedestrian zone, which
Yes.
poses challenges for businesses that are on that street.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rosemary.
I don't see any other raised hands.
I guess I can also add that as part of the solution to keeping that street pedestrian only, we do plan on having a roaming security guard that will make sure that there's no cars because a lot of times cars will turn onto that street and they just won't know that it's pedestrian only. So we do plan on having, that security guard that will ensure that cars are not going down that street for no reason unless they're delivery trucks.
Alec, can I make a suggestion? Can you put our question email in the chat just in case anybody wants to ask us a question offline possibly?
Yes, I think Rosemary would like another 2 minutes.
Sorry, since no one else is talking. But let me invite people, because the role that the Downtown Boston Bid plays in this environment is that we're here to listen to the opinions of residents, of abutters to this property, of people in the neighborhood, and that will help us form an opinion. But we are really, that's the goal of this meeting. And so I just want to encourage, people to express their thoughts about this particular proposal in this particular location. And as Chulan said, you can do it in writing, but it's a community forum. So if people feel able to speak, we're here to listen. And I know there's several other staff people joining us, including our president, Michael Nichols, our director of safety, Tucker Husband. So we really do want to hear what people have to say. And I do want to, we'll find out how we messed up, but we were doing quite a bit of outreach about this meeting, and the link that we sent was not the correct one. So I think other people had that issue too. So I do want to just acknowledge that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And I'd also like to echo that on behalf of our team. As we've all mentioned, we are looking to become members of the community here. And we would like to engage with you all on any concerns, questions that you all may have.
Okay.
Rosemary, would you like another 2 minutes?
I think we have Mary Higgins and Jack Perry also too, that just raised their hands.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, sorry, Mary.
Good morning, Joe. Good evening, everyone. This is Mary Higgins. I represent the Midtown Park Plaza Neighborhood Association. I just want to clarify, I know Dennis and the team did present to the Midtown Park Plaza in, I believe, in August. We did, generally, the members had some concerns at that point with security, and I'm sure that you've had several months now to work on and tweak your security plan. We still, however, the members do have some concerns, and it's really about location at this point. It's not, your security plan is very well thought out. You've thought of everything for the inside of the space, for outside security cameras and so forth. It's really the location that the members really are having a hard time with really approving this particular spot, given the fact that it's, 500 and little over 500 feet from the William J. Ostegow High School. And it is very close to West Street with bridge over troubled water. These are similar concerns that we had with another cannabis proposal for 1315 West Street. So the members are still really honing in on location as part of the application for these cannabis establishments. And I do think that area there, Tremont and Winter, there are still a lot of issues that are going on in that part of town. So I just want to reiterate, we have not voted on this proposal yet. So thank you for letting me speak.
Chulan, can we respond? Chu?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I'd like to respond.
Yep.
So Mary, how are you? Nice always to talk to you.
I'm good, Dennis. How are you?
Good. Thanks. I mean, we certainly did not indicate in any way that you had voted on our application, merely that we met with you. And we did that very early on. So, I understand what you said. I find it a little bit disconcerting that I believe it was your organization that at the hearing, which you referenced for the other location, basically said, why we find another location in the neighborhood and we'd be able to support you. I mean, we can't, there's not a perfect situation everywhere that we try to go, but at that last hearing, it was your organization which said, oh, if it was only somewhere else in the neighborhood. Well, we have found somewhere else in the neighborhood that is outside of the buffer zones and is otherwise a viable retail business location. I mean, it's very difficult to cite these locations, as you know. And I mean, it seems to me that we tried to follow the lead that you set down when you opposed the other application because it was way too close to bridge over and the high school, et cetera. So we are in a location that does not, conflict, if you will. And we did it based partly on the comments that were made by your organization at that last meeting. So, I mean, again.
Yeah, Dennis, that is correct. The Midtown Park Plaza Neighborhood Association, which let me just say, it's not my organization. I'm representing them on this call. We opposed that other location. It was strictly for the location.
Right.
We had no issues with their security plan. It was strictly members just didn't think that was an ideal spot to have a cannabis dispensary there. I'm just bringing up concerns that we have, Dennis, that's all, regarding the MPP&A. Like I said, we have not voted on this application.
I understand. No, thank you.
Are we ready to move on to the next question?
Oh, absolutely.
Jack Perry from 453 Washington Street.
Hey, yeah, so I walk by basically every day on my commute. It's heartening to see, business trying to move in and invest in that area. I have kind of a softball question for Eric, though. You made a point of talking about how well lit this is going to be. Can you please commit to using sensible color temperatures in your lights? I live right next to the smoke shop. with like just the blinding blue lights. And that's just gonna kill me if there's another shop like that on the street.
Consider myself committed.
Appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I got.
Thank you, Jack.
It's a valid concern with a lot of storefronts, the color balance of the lighting. And it's something that we try and get right on every project, not only on retail projects, but corporate interiors and other public spaces as well. So message received.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you for that question. We have a question in the chat from he doesn't yet. They just have it as phone as the name. But the question states, does this proposal violate the half-mile buffer zone to another establishment?
We are within the half mile of another establishment. We indeed understand that we must go through the zoning process where that becomes one of the major elements. We think our position here as an equity applicant places us in a different category than other applicants. But I do also want to suggest that with the city of Boston deciding that there will be at least 52 of these establishments, I think it was well considered that there would be applications that would be within the buffer zone of each other. And we are happen to be one of those. We think we have a very strong case to be made when the time comes. But yeah, that's something we have to deal with.
And just to add on to Dennis there, just from a location perspective as well, when the 52 license number, that comes from the city's liquor license count. And when you look at a map, you can see that the Cannabis, which is our nearest neighbor, they are right next to the Boston Wine Exchange, which is right off of Milk Street. And we have the Crossing Wine and Spirits, which is located on Temple Street, right around the corner from us. In addition to many banks and other franchise businesses.
Application on Winter Street.
Pardon?
What?
I believe the gentleman was talking, the gentleman that asked the question in the chat was speaking.
Okay.
Yes, I was referring to the Cannabis on Milk Street there. We do believe that these are separate economic zones of activity within the city based on the repeats, placement of franchises and the liquor stores.
Could I just add especially with regard to the package stores, interestingly, our hours of operation are 3 on some days and 4 on other days earlier than the package stores, which all are open till 11 p.m.
And liquor stores, right?
But yeah, the liquor stores, package stores, yes.
Any further questions? I see Mary Higgins still has her hand up. I don't know if you have a second question.
No, I'm all set. Thanks, Chu.
Cool. Does anybody else have any questions? All right. Well, before we wrap up, I do want to reiterate that this is not the end of the community process. No decisions were made tonight. This was just a community meeting required by the city and state before moving on to the Cannabis Board and the Zoning Board of Appeals. The proposal then needs to go through a state process before it will be allowed to open for business. Again, any written letters of support or opposition can be submitted to my email to be attached to the applicant's file. Let me make sure that my email is in the chat.
We throw our email in the chat too, just so they have any direct questions for us.
Absolutely, please do.
Thank you.
Again, please submit any written letters of support or opposition to my email and to make sure that it's attached to the applicant's file. And please put the address of the applicant in the subject line of the email, just so it's easier for me to sort through my emails. If there are no further questions, we will wrap up this meeting tonight. Again, want to thank everybody for being here tonight, and we will end the meeting.
Thank you, Chu. Thanks.
Thank you all.
everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody,
Thanks,
for
all.
showing up.
Take care. Happy
Thank
hours.
you.
All right, thanks. Bye, guys.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.